Hi guys, this is Michelle. If you're here from Instagram, you might know me as Mickelnay. This is my first video, so please be kind. I'm making a couple of tags to go with the journal that I had already sent out to a friend, so I'm just gluing down with a Yoo-hoo glue stick, some vintage algebra paper, um, and then just looking for colors of pages that match the journal, some papers that match the journal. This is, I believe, some deli paper that I'm gluing down with some turquoise on it, and then just some book pages that had the magenta that I wanted on it. I typically just kind of put it on there randomly and not necessarily the same. I don't really want it to match. I just want it to have the same components on each piece. Then I'm going to use some Lukas acrylic paint. This is magenta and also turquoise, and finally some mauve, and then just some Rowney white paint. And if you live by Jerry's, Lukas paint is very reasonable. It's only like $10 for a big, huge bottle. So, and it's really good paint, I think. So anyhow, I'm just taking a brush and putting a little bit of paint on the tags. I typically like to mix just a little bit of white just to give it a little bit more variation and kind of move the color a little bit more. I know I put this down because I almost forgot it, but it's like my favorite color. It's Americana Fiery Red. And then I need more white because I like it better with the white. It's not very opaque, and if I add the white to it, it becomes more of a pinky red than just an orangey red. And here I'm putting down some gesso. It's just the Liquitex Basics gesso. I really like that for mixed media pieces. It's a little grittier, and I like that because I like the texture. So I put that down, and it's just put in a little bottle. A friend on Instagram used, I guess it's for breastfeeding. I guess it's a breast milk bottle. I don't know. I found it at my thrift store. It was new, so I thought it was an awesome idea because it stays tight and doesn't leak, so it works perfectly, and it's small and skinny, so that's what I'm doing. Typically I hold the palette knife a little further back, but since this is small and I want to make sure I get it exactly where I want it, I held the palette knife a little closer. Just wiping off some excess and smoothing it out and drying off the tags so that I don't make mud when I put another layer on top of it. And you'll see me wipe my hands a lot. I love to get messy, but I don't like things on my hands, so it's going to drive me crazy, and I'll wipe them a lot. So sorry about that. I do like to get messy. I just don't like messiness on my hands, I guess. I don't know. So I'm going to come in with my paintbrush and a little bit of the fiery red and white and just kind of mix it. I like to use my fingers to blend. I just don't like the paint to stay on there. You probably wouldn't believe that by the end because I have so much paint on my hands. So anyhow, I'm just kind of randomly putting paint wherever the turquoise and the fiery red and white mix. It kind of makes another shade of purple or pink, kind of like a purple that kind of blends really nice with the magenta and mauve. So I like that too. Again, just adding a little bit of white over top of the turquoise to kind of mute it down a little bit. And just bring everything together. Like I said, I don't want it to match. I just want everything to, have the same components and the same colors and kind of push all the ephemera into the back. And I don't like harsh lines at all, so I'm constantly pushing and kind of blending out the edges. And there I am washing my hands off with a baby wipe because, again, I don't like them to have a bunch of stuff on them. So, gonna dry it again, and I use the heat tool probably longer than I should. Sometimes the gesso or whatever I'm doing will bubble up, and I'm okay with that. Again, it adds more texture. This isn't any intricate piece or a face or anything like that, so I'm okay with it. I'm using a small stencil. It's a tiny Diane Reevely Dylusions stencil, just little circles, and I'm using the mauve paint just to add some little circles, and just kind of putting it here and there. I do have like a little sentiment or a Tim Holtz sticker that I put on the center, so I kind of keep that open. So that's why it's just kind of on the edges, but again, not matching, just putting some marks down and enjoying the process. And then I'm going to come in with I believe it's a Tim Holtz stencil and the Magenta paint. Yep, I believe it's like X's. I just got it. As you can see, it's completely clean, no paint on it. So I'm just kind of doing the same thing, putting that down just to include that color as well, since that was on the journal. And as soon as those are down and that dries, I like to come back in with a little bit of paint and just kind of blend things out again. Again, I don't like harsh lines, so I like everything to kind of blend together and just kind of like stay in the background a little bit. So we try and keep moving the paint as long as it's not dry. And then this is another Dylusions stencil, the little mini ones, and I just wanted a little bit more of the mauve paint on there because I had big circles on the journal, and I thought that would blend a little bit better, make it stand out a little bit better. So I use my finger just because I don't want it to be so neat. I used a stencil brush on the other stencils, and they have a tendency, if you use like the makeup brushes or makeup sponges or your finger or a regular paintbrush, stencil brushes work so good at getting a nice crisp clear image. Here I didn't want that, so I used my finger, and then I'm going to go back and take some of it away because I don't like on the tag on the left, it's just too big, so I just wipe that away a little bit with a baby wipe that I always have on hand. And then this is a Montana marker. Michael's had them clearanced, and they're just amazing markers. If you're looking for acrylic paint markers, they're great. I don't know if they still have them, but they clearance them down to like a couple dollars, and they're typically like, I think they're like $8 or $9, so it's a great deal. Always hit the clearance racks at the art stores or craft stores. And then I just went back and I took the turquoise and painted the backs of the cards, just in case splatters got on them, or I don't know why. It's just something that I like to do. I don't like it to have a messy back, so I'll either glue another piece of paper on the back or paint the back. And I don't care about the top because I'm going to put some material over it for the fringe or to go through the hole. So I don't care if that gets covered or not. And then I'm putting down a sheet of deli paper over top of my just paper that I have down to pick up extra paint. I have a piece of material that I got from the thrift store and washed. I'm not sure what it was, but it rips perfectly, so it works great to add to the tags. And then I'm using Tumble Dye. You can get that at Hobby Lobby, and this is just the fluorescence. Again, that's the fiery red that I just love, or fluorescent red. And then I'm not sure, I think those are Tulip. I got them on clearance or at Tuesday Morning a long time ago, but they have a little bit of shimmer in them, and they're kind of the colors that I have, and it's close enough. So I just add water so it moves a little bit more, and then I take the piece of material and put it through there. So it's just like dyeing the material. the exact colors of the tags and the journal. And I also added that on the journal as to tie the journal together. So then the tags will match as well. And I felt I needed a little bit more of the greenish turquoise and a little bit more of the magenta because the fluorescent red just kind of took over everything. It came out a little faster than I wanted it to. And none of the sprayers work on any of them. Isn't that how it goes? They always get clogged like right after the first time, if that. So I'll put that paper off to the side because I can use that later. And then I just take the ribbons and put it in, I got some 99-cent towels from IKEA that I use in my art room, and I squeezed all the excess water and dye out of them and then dry it with my heat gun. And as you can see, they stay really vibrant and the ink doesn't bleed off at all. I guess because they're made to dye fabrics. I don't know, but it works really well. So I just make sure it's completely dry so that I can go to the next step. And since I have 2 tags, I just put a little cut in it and rip that in half so I have one for each tag. And then I'm going to go over and I have some, it was in the yarn section, but it's more material that's almost like tie-dyed. I got it at Hobby Lobby in the clearance section for $2 and it had a bunch of different colors, but it's really awesome. I just don't have every color, so I like to dye it and then use that as well. Now I'm going to go in with some silver metallic polka dot washi. The polka dots are transparent, so you can kind of see the paint and everything come through. I put that down on each tag and cut the edges off, and I always take the little bits that are extra and put them up on my, put them somewhere on my paper that I have down, and I'll use that paper later in journals or collage, or just make sure I use up every bit that I have. So now I'm going in with some turquoise washi and layering that on top just to kind of tone down the silver metallic a little. I went back and touched up a couple spots on the back of the tag and grabbed some Tim Holtz small chit chat stickers. I believe that's what it is. Might be small talk. Anyhow, I found 2 that I liked. One was Enjoy the Journey and the other one was Enjoy Today. So I put one on each. I thought they kind of coordinated and matched and brought the 2 together. And then I have a liquid chrome marker, and I love those markers. They're one of my favorites. This is like the really fine point. I can't think of what one it is. I have 2. I have more the bullet nib, and then I have the smaller one. So I think that's the 0.1. Anyhow, I just kind of go around it. Not neat, just messy, and just to kind of bring the silver or chrome throughout the tag a little bit more. And then just to doodle, I go over some of the little dots and make some little X's in there, some little circles on the dots, just to kind of bring your eye around the tag so it's not just in 1 or 2 spots. And I do that on both tags, same thing. So now that both tags are finished, I take the material and put a topper on each one. Put them through and then cut them down a little bit just to make them fuller. I don't want them too full because they're going to be sticking out the side of my journal, but I don't want them too thin either and don't want them too long. So I just tie those off and cut them, and then they're complete. So thank you so much for watching, and I would love it if you subscribed. Ask any questions or comments. That would be great. I would love to answer them. Please be kind. This is my first time. I have friends that do this and they make it look so easy, and it is not easy. Maybe I'm just not techie. I feel like I'm not techie, but either way, I have to get better, right? Everyone has to get better as they go. So Anyhow, thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.